You're probably ignoring the biggest financial partner you will ever have, and it's hiding in plain sight. It's the place you show up to Monday through Friday. It's the company that deposits money into your account over and over with one expectation: you show up and do the work. Most people look at that relationship and see one thing: salary. Then they spend the salary, stress about the bills, and wonder why building wealth feels impossible. The shift that changes everything is realizing your job is more than pay. It's a system that can fund your investing, reduce your taxes, upgrade your skills, and open doors that stay closed when your income is unstable. If you learn how to use the full system, your timeline changes. If you ignore it, you end up working harder for results that come slower. Start with a simple idea. Your paycheck is not the finish line. It's the fuel. Fuel is what powers the thing you actually want: assets, index funds, retirement accounts, a down payment, a small business on the side, an emergency fund that stops every surprise from turning into a crisis. Those things need input. For most people, the input comes from employment. That doesn't mean you have to love your job. It means you can treat it like a platform. And platforms can be used strategically. Here's where people miss the money. They assume compensation equals base salary. In reality, many employers pay salary plus a second layer of value: retirement match, health plan subsidies, HSA contributions, insurance coverage, education assistance, stipends, and discounts. Some of that is obvious, like health insurance. Some of it is quiet, buried in a benefits portal you only open once a year. And because it feels like paperwork, people walk right past it. That's like owning a store and refusing deliveries because you don't like signing for packages. Let's talk about the cleanest example: the 401k match. If your employer matches part of what you contribute, that is extra compensation tied to your behavior. In plain English, it's money you only receive if you participate. A common setup looks like this. You contribute a certain percentage of your paycheck, and your employer matches up to a limit. The numbers vary, but the concept is the same. If you don't contribute enough to reach the match limit, you're declining part of your compensation. And a lot of people do exactly that. They stop short because money feels tight, or because retirement feels far away, or because they plan to start later. Later usually turns into years. If money is tight, the instinct is to keep every dollar in your checking account. That feels safe. The problem is it keeps you in the same loop. When there's a match, contributing up to the match limit can be the highest impact move you can make because it changes the return on your contribution immediately. You're effectively turning a small sacrifice into a larger asset base from day one. That larger base has more time to compound. Time matters more than people want to admit. If you're thinking, "That sounds good, but I'm barely covering rent," keep listening. We'll talk about realistic ways to do this at different income levels. For now, just understand the principle. Your employer may be offering extra dollars that only show up when you take a simple action. This is one of those actions where consistency beats intensity. You don't need perfection. You need the system running. Now let's go one level deeper, because retirement matching is only one lever. Another lever a lot of people misunderstand is the HSA, the health savings account. This only applies if you have a qualifying high-deductible health plan. And if you do, the HSA is more than a medical spending bucket. Many people treat it like a special checking account for copays and prescriptions. That's the most common behavior, and it's also the least strategic version of the account. Here's what makes an HSA unique in simple terms. It can give you tax advantages when money goes in, and it can help the money grow if you invest it, and it can be used for qualified medical costs. The exact rules depend on your situation, but the big point is this: if you have access to an HSA, you may have an account type that can play multiple roles over time. Short-term medical expenses are one role. Long-term planning is another role. When someone uses the HSA only as a pass-through, money in, money out, they miss the compounding effect. When someone treats it as a long-term tool, they create an extra pool of future flexibility. This is where the strategy becomes practical. If your budget allows, some people choose to pay smaller medical costs out of pocket while keeping their HSA invested. Over a long period, that can build a meaningful account balance that can be used later when healthcare expenses often rise. That doesn't mean everyone should do it that way. It means you should understand the option exists and choose intentionally, instead of defaulting to the easiest path because it feels familiar. Next lever, Education and skill funding. A surprising number of companies offer tuition reimbursement, certification reimbursement, training budgets, or professional development funds. And people ignore it because it feels like extra work. They don't want to ask their manager. They don't want to fill out a form. They assume it's hard to get approved. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Either way, the upside is bigger than it looks because it doesn't only add money, it increases your earning power. Think about it like this. Money can grow in two major ways. One is investing, your dollars compound. The other is income, your earning capacity expands. Education benefits hit the second lever. If your employer helps pay for a certification that lets you move into a higher paying role, that can increase your income for years. And the skills often move with you. Even if you leave the company, you keep the skill. That's a strong deal. In the real world, people spend thousands trying to invest in themselves, then skip the version their employer is willing to support. So far, we've covered three big pieces: the 401k match, the HSA, and education benefits. Now zoom out. Those are line items. They're the obvious parts of the system. The bigger concept is what your salary represents. Salary is not the wealth. Salary is the engine that buys assets. It buys time. It buys stability. It buys the ability to take calculated risks. When you see it that way, the job becomes a tool. It stops being only a trade of hours for dollars. It becomes the funding source for a bigger plan. Here's a quick reality check that helps make this concrete. In many compensation packages, the total value of benefits can be a meaningful percentage of base salary. Health insurance is a major part of that. Retirement matching can be another part. Add in disability coverage, life insurance, wellness stipends, commuter benefits, training budgets, and sometimes even stock grants or employee stock purchase plans. The details vary widely. The point is, the total package often has more value than people capture. And when you capture more of it, you're increasing your effective pay without needing a raise. Let's do a simple scenario. Say someone earns $80,000. Their employer matches up to a certain percent in a 401k. They contribute enough to get the full match. That alone can be several $1,000s a year in extra compensation. Add an employer HSA contribution if it exists. Add a professional development budget that covers a course or certification. Add a wellness stipend for a gym membership or home office setup. Each item feels small when you look at it alone. Together, it can be real money, year after year. Over a long career, the difference can become six figures. If those dollars are invested, the gap can become much larger. The scary part is how often the difference comes down to a few forms and a few settings in payroll. Now I want to talk about the shadow benefits, the value your employer has that doesn't show up as a line item. This part is completely legal and completely underused, and it's mostly about resources. Many employers already pay for tools and access that you would never buy for yourself: software, data platforms, training subscriptions, learning libraries, internal workshops, mentors who have done the thing you want to do, even conferences and industry events. If you use those resources well, you build portable skills and a stronger network. That increases your market value, which is the thing that drives future raises and better job options. Here's a practical way to think about it. If your company pays for a tool that's common in your industry, learning it deeply makes you more valuable in your current role and more employable elsewhere. That can lead to better offers. Better offers lead to more income. More income leads to more investing capacity. It's a chain reaction. The same goes for networking on company time at company events. You're meeting people in your space while you're getting paid. That can turn into opportunities later. You don't have to be fake about it. You just have to show up, be useful, and stay in touch with people who are moving in the direction you want. There's also something I call time leverage, and I want to be careful with how I say this. Many jobs include wasted time, meetings that run long, processes that move slowly, downtime between projects. A lot of people fill that time with scrolling or random distractions. If you're delivering your actual work and you have pockets of time, those pockets can be used to build your skills. A course module during lunch, reading about investing basics, updating your resume, learning a tool that makes you faster at your job. This is how people quietly level up without burning themselves out at night. It's not about gaming the system. It's about using your available bandwidth with intention. Now we get to the psychological payoff. Your job doesn't only buy you money, it buys you credibility, stability, and optionality. Credibility means lenders and landlords take you more seriously. A stable W-2 income can help you qualify for a mortgage. It can help you get a better interest rate. It can help you rent a place without jumping through hoops. That matters because a lot of wealth-building tools in the US depend on access. Access to credit, access to housing, access to financing that's cheaper when you look safe on paper. Stability means you can invest without panic. When you have predictable income, you can take a long-term view. You can invest in index funds without checking the market every hour. You can build an emergency fund and stop treating every expense like an emergency. You can explore a side project without needing it to pay the bills in month one. This is what people miss when they talk about quitting their job to be free. Freedom is not the absence of work. It's the presence of options. Optionality is the end goal for most people, even if they don't use that word. Optionality means you can say no. No to a toxic situation, no to a job that drains you, no to staying in a city you've outgrown. Yes to a better opportunity. Yes to taking time off. Yes to switching paths. Optionality shows up when assets cover a meaningful portion of your expenses. And assets get built faster when you're using the full power of employment. Paycheck plus benefits plus resources. So what does this look like when you actually execute it? Let's paint a realistic path without turning it into a spreadsheet lecture. Early on, you focus on capturing the big benefits. You set your 401k contribution to reach the match. You learn how your health plan works and whether an HSA is available. You look for any education money and use it on skills that increase your earning power. You keep your lifestyle fairly steady so you have margin. In the beginning, the progress can feel slow. That's normal. Early wealth building often feels like pushing a heavy object. Then momentum builds. As your income rises, the biggest trap is lifestyle inflation. The raise hits and it quietly turns into better meals, a more expensive car, a nicer apartment, more subscriptions, more treat-yourself spending. None of those things are evil. The issue is when the raise disappears without ever becoming an asset. A simple approach that works for a lot of people is separating the raise from your daily spending. If your paycheck increases, decide ahead of time what portion goes to investing automatically. Make it hard for the extra money to blend into your regular checking account. When money blends, it tends to evaporate. A few years in, you may have a decent emergency fund and some investable money beyond retirement accounts. That's when options start opening. Maybe it's a taxable brokerage account with broad index funds. Maybe it's saving for a down payment. Maybe it's paying down high-interest debt to improve your cash flow. The exact path depends on your goals. The structure stays the same. Capture benefits, keep margin, invest consistently, upgrade skills, protect your credit profile, and let time do its work. If you want to accelerate the timeline, the biggest lever for many people is increasing income. Sometimes that happens through promotions. Sometimes it happens by switching employers. Staying at one company for a long time can work in some cases, especially if they promote well and treat employees fairly. In many cases, switching strategically can lead to higher pay and better benefits because you're being priced at the current market. The key is being intentional. Evaluate the total package, not only base pay. Compare the match. Compare health costs. Compare education support. Compare work-life structure. You're choosing a platform.
Now let's talk to the person who's thinking, this all sounds great, but I'm making $45,000 and I'm already stretched. That's real. The principles still apply. The scale changes. At a lower income, small wins matter more because they create breathing room. If there's a match, even capturing a partial match can help. If you have access to pre-tax benefits that reduce taxes, that can help. If your employer offers any training that increases your skills, that can help you move into a higher-paying lane over time. The timeline might be longer, and the steps might need to be smaller, and the overall plan still works because it's based on percentages and consistency. Also, wealth building gets easier after the foundation is built. The first chunk is the hardest because you're building habits, systems, and margin at the same time. Later, your investments can start doing more of the heavy lifting. You look up one day and realize the market growth in a year can be larger than what you contributed. That's when it feels like the system is finally working with you. And the job starts feeling different because you're no longer dependent on every paycheck to survive. You still value the income and benefits, and you have more control. So here's the takeaway. Most people treat their job like a simple transaction: hours in, money out. A smarter view is paycheck plus benefits plus resources equals a wealth-building platform. When you use the platform fully, you're effectively increasing your compensation, lowering friction, and speeding up the timeline to optionality. That doesn't require a dramatic life overhaul. It requires a few key actions. Capture the match, understand your health plan options, use education support when it fits your goals, build skills that raise your market value, and invest consistently with a system that runs without constant willpower. If you want to start today, keep it simple. Open your benefits portal and read the parts you've been skipping. Check your 401k contribution percentage. Check whether there's a match and what you need to do to receive it. Look for education support and any stipends you've ignored. Then decide on one small improvement you can lock in this week. The goal is progress that sticks. If this helped, subscribe to Liam Invests. Give the video a like if you want to support the channel. And watch more videos here to learn more about investing, building wealth with simple systems, and making your money work harder over time.